is Caitlin Clark being frustrated. Caitlin Clark wanted to come back. Word on the street, front office, even Stephanie White said it down in Phoenix. She stated, we are worried about the long-term health of Caitlin Clark. That has been the topic. That has been all they worried about.
Could the most electrifying player in sports, the superstar who single-handedly resurrected a struggling franchise, be benched by the very people who owe her everything? Prepare for a shocking expose as we dive deep into the unbelievable truth behind Caitlin Clark's sudden and controversial sidelining by the Indiana Fever front office. This isn't just about an injury, it's about a calculated move that has sent shockwaves through the league, a play for power and control that threatens to derail an entire season and leave fans utterly bewildered. Clark isn't one to back down, and the full story reveals a battle brewing far beyond the basketball court.
Is Caitlin Clark not playing because she's hurt? She can't come back? Or is she not playing because the organization chose to bench her for the rest of the year? Because Stephanie White has come out and made some comments, and I don't like what I'm hearing.
The Indiana Fever have managed to clinch a playoff spot for the second consecutive year, boasting a franchise record 23 wins, and their first winning season since 2015, a monumental turnaround that, by all accounts, was fueled almost entirely by one player. Yet, in a bewildering twist of fate, the very architect of this remarkable resurgence, Caitlin Clark, has been definitively ruled out for the remainder of the season, including these critical postseason games. This isn't just a missed game, it's a gut punch to a team and a fan base, as the player who transformed empty arenas into sold-out spectacles and whose mere presence guaranteed viewership and revenue is now forced to watch from the sidelines, reportedly absolutely livid about the decision. The implications of this are far-reaching, threatening to strip the playoffs of their biggest draw.
Fever are having a tough time covering the tracks to the dirty games they played and screwing over the fans and sabotaging Caitlin Clark this season. Everybody is on to the dirty games that the WNBA and the Indiana Fever have played this season, manipulating the people and using Caitlin Clark for money and using her fans. Stephanie White has been exposed. Lexi Hall confirms that Caitlin Clark was ready to play and that the team made the decision to keep her out while she was ready to play.
The official narrative spun by the Fever front office is centered on big-picture long-term health, a seemingly benevolent explanation designed to portray them as responsible custodians of their most valuable asset. They're acting as if they're safeguarding the crown jewels, meticulously bubble-wrapping Caitlin Clark for a future that bafflingly appears to matter more than the unprecedented opportunity she has created right now. This calculated caution is presented as a virtue, almost as if fans are expected to applaud a decision that benches the singular highlight reel, the one-woman show who single-handedly dragged this team out of obscurity and into the national spotlight. But beneath the veneer of concern, a more cynical motive begins to emerge, hinting at a corporate chess match where competitive fire takes a backseat to perceived financial prudence.
Steph, what stood out to you about Caitlin and kind of the ray of emotion she probably felt as you came to this decision?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, number one, just all the injuries that she's had. Obviously, I wouldn't speak for her, but and the amount of work that she's put in to position herself to be able to play and then to, you know, have to ultimately make this decision. There's disappointment. There's the obvious frustration that's come with not being healthy really for an entire season. But ultimately, you know, I think the big picture is the most important thing, and those are conversations that we've continued to have. You know, and the message has continued to be that you know, it's not her long-term health and wellness and her being 100% when she's ready to.
To suggest that Caitlin Clark is merely another player to be placed on an injury list is to fundamentally misunderstand her colossal impact. She is unequivocally the entire reason the Indiana Fever are even a topic of conversation in the broader sports landscape. Cast your mind back just a short while, and you'll remember a franchise languishing for 7 agonizing years as the league's perennial punching bag, nowhere near the postseason conversation, struggling for relevance. Then, like a comet streaking across the night sky, Caitlin arrived, and boom, suddenly this dormant team was not only a playoff contender, but was packing arenas to capacity and dominating discussions on SportsCenter. She didn't just improve the team, she single-handedly orchestrated a miraculous transformation, elevating the franchise from the desolate basement to the glittering ballroom of the WNBA elite.
Caitlin Clark strapped on her hard hat and steel-toed boots and revolutionized the game of pretend basketball. She turned this previously unmonetizable turd into a league that's getting dangerously close to losing their charity status. Because of Caitlin Clark, the WNBA is on the verge of generating pesos and profit for the first time ever. She brought mainstream attention to a league that never had a chance of breaking into the mainstream. She brought a new fan base. For the first time, people were actually willing to spend money to watch.
And how precisely do these corporate suits choose to repay the player who has delivered this unprecedented resurgence and captivating narrative by effectively telling her to sit out the most important dance of the year, right when the stakes are highest and the spotlight is brightest? This isn't just a minor tactical misstep or an unfortunate twist of fate. It borders on outright disrespect, a profound insult to a competitor of Clark's caliber. Imagine the sheer audacity of sidelining the main character of an epic saga just as the story reaches its thrilling climax, akin to a blockbuster superhero movie, abruptly cutting out its protagonist from the final battle because the studio is suddenly concerned about wear and tear. The decision feels less about safeguarding health and more about exercising control, a move that could very well backfire spectacularly and leave a lasting scar on the team's relationship with its most vital player.
Which I'm all for the long-term health, but you got to be a player-first organization. And if that said player is ready to return, she's cleared by the doctors, she's cleared by the damn doctors to play, been cleared by the doctors to play, let her fucking play. I am sorry. Y'all sitting up here, donkey and a damn carried everybody, wanting to get all the money you can off one day. It's one day at a time, one day at a time. All this BS y'all doing is ridiculous. And Indiana, you're looking spooky. You're looking spooky. I am sorry. I am sick of this.
The pivotal moment arrived on July 15th, 2025, during a tense final minute against the Connecticut Sun.
Instead of allowing Caitlin Clark to elevate the league, WNBA players were overtaken with powerful feelings of jealousy. They resented her. They wanted her to go away. And this season, and especially over the last couple of months, WNBA players have gotten exactly what they wanted. After 2 years of claiming that the WNBA is about more than one player, unknown dump divers were finally given the opportunity to prove it. As expected, the end result has been huge, embarrassing failure.
It was a seemingly innocuous moment. Clark delivered a routine pass, then suddenly, agonizingly clutched her right groin. The cameras captured the raw, unfiltered agony and frustration etched across her face, head in her hands, a towel draped over her shoulders, the crushing weight of disappointment visibly heavy on her spirit. From that precise moment, the Indiana Fever front office, not Clark herself, and notably not the medical professionals who had cleared her for non-contact practice, unilaterally decided her fate. This decision, however, stands in stark contrast to Clark's undeniable league-altering impact. Her very first game against Angel Reese's team, for instance, shattered records, drawing an astonishing 2.7 million viewers on ESPN, making it the most-watched game of the year. That night, Clark didn't just play, she posted a triple-double and practically broke the internet, while Angel Reese was largely relegated to the background, managing 12 points and a whole lot of side-eye. It became irrefutably clear then, as it is now, Caitlin Clark isn't just asterisk part asterisk of the show. She asterisk is asterisk the show, the entire spectacle, and nothing but the show.
The Fever fan base has lost so much trust in the Fever organization this year, and not only from the injury reporting, but it stems from the injury reporting. There's been some very, very weird injury reports this season, and the math isn't mathing. And I've also been one to defend the organization to a certain extent because you don't always want to give away too much information. And I've placed a lot of the blame on the reporters. I'm like, how are the reporters not able to get to the bottom of this and at least give us something?
For nearly 2 agonizing months following her injury, the front office dangled hope before Clark and her legions of fans like a tantalizing carrot in front of a racehorse. They offered vague assurances of day-to-day updates and promised they were taking it slow, all while Clark, with singular focus and unwavering determination, spent countless hours in the gym every single day, driven by the sole goal of returning to the court. She meticulously underwent non-contact drills, actively participated in team shoot-arounds, and was, by all accounts, physically and mentally ready to return and lead her team to glory. But here's where the narrative takes an ugly turn. The front office, the very individuals who had been riding the Caitlin Clark gravy train since day one, suddenly decided they possessed superior wisdom. They shut her down entirely, not due to a definitive medical inability to play, nor at the explicit instruction of her doctors, but under the guise of protecting her long-term health.
This is a sabotage job, you guys. Flat out, point blank, period. You guys have not been open and up front. You guys have talked about long-term health and wellness. You guys have not been up front with the injuries, with the injury report, with the timetable. You guys left this girl listed as day-to-day and questionable for months at a time. That is not being upfront with the people. It's not. It's not. It's not. You guys hid an injury, an ankle injury, for weeks. You guys hid an ankle injury for weeks. Stop it.
The cold, hard translation of their carefully crafted statement is chillingly simple. They prioritize safeguarding their lucrative investment, even if it meant cynically sacrificing the team's best, most realistic chance at winning a championship asterisk. Right now, asterisk, this was a strategic business call, not a medical imperative, designed to mitigate future risk at the expense of present glory.
When she hurt her ankle in August, that was really the dagger at the end of the season. But also, they had no idea when that groin injury would have healed. See, this is the part that's frustrating with these guys, is that why can't they just say mid-grade 2 or 3? Just tell the truth. Was it a 1? Was it a 2? Was it a 3? Was it a 1 but she re-aggravated in practice or something? Did they over-push her or something?
In the wake of this controversial decision, Clark released a statement that should send shivers down the spine of every executive lurking in that corporate building. A raw, poignant declaration of her true feelings. I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season, she began, her words heavy with disappointment. I spent hours in the gym every day with the singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling. Let that resonate for a moment. Disappointed isn't a big enough word. This isn't just any athlete. This is Caitlin Clark, a generational talent who has faced down pressures that would utterly crush mere mortals, who has shouldered the immense weight of an entire league on her back, and who has never ever encountered a challenge she couldn't conquer. Reflect on the seismic impact Clark has had on this franchise. She plucked a team from the ignominious depths of being the WNBA's laughingstock and transformed them into legitimate playoff contenders. She didn't just break attendance records, she shattered them. She didn't just improve viewership numbers, she sent them soaring into unprecedented territory. She made the Indiana Fever relevant for the first time in nearly a decade, creating a buzz that permeated mainstream sports culture. An asterisk. This asterisk is how they choose to repay her loyalty, her dedication, her sheer transformative power. by sidelining her during the most crucial history-making stretch of games this franchise has ever known. It's a betrayal that cuts deeper than any injury.
Stated, I miss it too. Y'all want to know why Caitlin Clark said this? Because Caitlin Clark never wanted to sit out. Caitlin Clark wanted to come back. Caitlin Clark wanted to come back, and they're treating her like she's property. That's what the Indiana Fever is doing. She's their property now. And since Caitlin Clark can have the say on whether she can play basketball or not, which is completely damn me ridiculous, utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. If she could play and she want to play, let her fucking play.
The front office's official excuse, delivered with a performative air of concern, states, "We're putting no timetable on it. The most important thing for us is Caitlin's long-term health." How incredibly noble, how utterly considerate, and how profoundly insulting to a fierce competitor like Clark. This is a woman whose entire career has been defined by playing through adversity, who famously never missed a single game during her storied collegiate career at Iowa, and who until this point had never missed a game in her rookie WNBA season. Yet, suddenly, the front office claims to possess a superior understanding of her own body and capabilities than she does herself. But here's the inconvenient truth they're desperately trying to suppress. Clark was not merely on the road to recovery. She was actively participating in team activities, running with the squad during 5-on-0 drills. Furthermore, medical experts were openly calling out the team's day-to-day narrative as deliberately misleading, pointing out that her extended absence clearly indicated a week-to-week issue, not a catastrophic, career-threatening injury. Despite all evidence pointing to her imminent return, the front office opted for the nuclear option, decisively shutting down their franchise player when she was tantalizingly close to stepping back onto the court.
Confidence, so by making the playoffs and by shutting down Caitlin Clark, it means that they fully believe that Caitlin Clark is not going to be an asset to this team, and they would rather go into the playoffs with Bree Hall on the roster than with a Caitlin Clark. And I don't know if it's a situation of, like, they would rather do that than go in with Caitlin Clark, and they would rather go in not have the headache of Caitlin Clark. It straight up seems that this front office, whether it be the coach down, they do not want the headache of constant Caitlin Clark questions in the playoffs.
So what was Caitlin Clark's profound reaction to this astonishing betrayal? It was a masterclass in pure, unfiltered honesty, delivered with a quiet power that spoke volumes.
I missed this so bad. Caitlin Clark's message on her Instagram story. I missed this so bad. It's just a tough thing to process, I'm sure, for her as well. And then the way it went down, it wasn't like a sudden thing, which in the long run is better, right? I mean, it's better that it wasn't an ACL or an Achilles or one of these injuries that's going to sideline her for a prolonged period of time. But the hope of her return, and then the ankle injury messing everything up in the process of that and making it so she couldn't return, it has to be burning her up inside because
In her subsequent statement, Clark bravely acknowledged the profound frustration, but also sought to find a silver lining, stating, "This has been incredibly frustrating, but even in the bad, there is good. The way the fans continue to show up for me and for the Fever brought me so much joy and important perspective. I am so proud of how this team has only gotten stronger through adversity this year." Now it's time to close out the season and claim our spot. Pay very close attention to the deliberate phrasing here. She poured out genuine gratitude for the unwavering support of the fans, and she offered heartfelt praise for her teammates' resilience and unity. Yet, conspicuously absent was even a single syllable of appreciation or thanks directed towards the very front office that made the decision to sideline her. That deafening silence, my friends, speaks volumes. It's a thunderous indictment without uttering a single accusatory word. Clark, with a clarity that cuts through all the corporate spin, knows precisely who is responsible for keeping her off the court during the biggest games of the year, and she made sure everyone else knows it too.
The WNBA had a star come in that has not had this much impact on a sport since Tiger Woods. That is how big Caitlin Clark is. That is the global impact, and it's not just an American impact. That's the global impact that Caitlin Clark has had on this league. The amount of eyeballs, attendance, all the things. We've been over all of it. It's the Caitlin Clark effect, Clarkonomics, whatever you want to call it. At this point in time, if you're still denying that, I don't know what to say. You're not living in reality. Unfortunately, though, there are still people at this point in time who are still denying that. When Caitlin Clark went out with injury in the beginning of the season, the viewership dropped over 50%.
Here's where the situation becomes even more infuriatingly short-sighted and self-destructive. The Indiana Fever, despite their impressive turnaround, aren't exactly cruising to a championship. They're sitting as the 7th seed, having just clinched their playoff berth with a commanding 94, Mythers 65 demolition of the Washington Mystics. Yet they are now heading into the high-stakes postseason without their undeniable superstar, their primary draw, their very identity. Fans are already voicing profound skepticism about the team's playoff chances without Clark, and rightfully so. The front office is quick to talk about protecting Clark's future. But what about protecting the franchise's immediate future, its hard-won relevance, and its blossoming competitive window? What about the tens of thousands of dedicated fans who eagerly bought playoff tickets, expecting to witness the electrifying Caitlin Clark show in person? And what about the television ratings, which are poised to plummet without the league's most magnetic star on the court? This front office has bafflingly prioritized hypothetical long-term concerns over very real immediate championship opportunities and the palpable excitement she generates. Make no mistake, this decision reeks not of foresight, but of profound organizational arrogance. The same suits who watched Clark single-handedly transform their franchise from utterly irrelevant to absolute must-see TV now, inexplicably believe they can not only survive but thrive without her. They are about to learn a harsh, painful lesson about the catastrophic consequences of sidelining true greatness in favor of cold corporate caution. Clark's powerful statement continued, a subtle but undeniable jab at the very people who orchestrated her benching. I want to thank everyone who had my back through all the uncertainty. Notice the crucial nuance there. Everyone who had her back, pointedly asterisks, not asterisks. Everyone in the organization, and certainly not the decision makers who made this call. This isn't just about one superstar missing the playoffs. This is a profound issue of respect, loyalty, and the recognition of what Clark has truly meant to this franchise, and indeed to the entire WNBA. She has been the league's undisputed golden goose, the player who has single-handedly brought unprecedented attention, viewership, and critically revenue to women's basketball on a scale never before witnessed. And her reward for this unparalleled loyalty, dedication, and transformative impact, to be unceremoniously benched by corporate suits who have likely never even laced up a pair of sneakers in their lives. The most infuriating part of this entire saga is the undeniable fact that Clark was ready. She had diligently put in the grueling work, grinding through every step of her rehabilitation, doing everything asked of her and more. Yet, the front office, in a stunning display of hubris, decided they knew better than the fiercely competitive athlete who has never backed down from anything in her life. They chose short-sighted fear and bureaucratic liability over bold championship aspirations, a decision that will undoubtedly haunt them. Now the burden falls squarely on the front office to explain to a rightfully outraged fan base why the most exciting, transcendent player in women's basketball will be watching the playoffs from the sidelines. They will be forced to explain why ticket sales are destined to plummet, why viewership numbers will inevitably crater, and why the Indiana Fever's championship window, which Clark single-handedly pried open, has just been slammed shut with a resounding thud. All of this because they couldn't trust their own franchise player to know her body and make her own decisions, and instead opted for a paternalistic, corporate-driven decree. Clark's final words in her statement are incredibly telling, a quiet defiance that hints at a deeper understanding of the injustice. Now it's time to close out the season and claim our spot. Notice the absence of our spot in the playoffs or our championship run. It's simply our spot, the language of someone who intimately knows they are being held back, tethered from something far bigger and more glorious. The Indiana Fever front office has, without a doubt, just made the biggest, most self-defeating mistake in franchise history. They took the player who single-handedly saved their organization from irrelevance and told her she couldn't be trusted to help finish what she so brilliantly started. They chose the cold, calculated spreadsheets of corporate liability over the fiery passion of competitive spirit, sacrificing potential championships for perceived risk mitigation.
You Bird.